In this video, we're going to show you guys the best core exercises for lower back pain and exactly how to perform them. Hey guys, Dr. Andrew here with the Charlotte Athlete, where we are committed to helping athletes quickly recover from injury so they can move better and continue to be active in their sport. And if this is your first time tuning into one of our videos, make sure to hit the subscribe button below or at the end of the video so you'll be notified every time we release a new video just like this, every time we release new awesome content. So today, we're going to dive right into the best core exercises to not only prevent lower back pain, but treat it. And if you stick around to the end, we're going to reveal the top 2 reasons why athletes develop lower back pain to begin with. All right, so when it comes to lower back pain, in 99% of all cases, there's a common theme, and that has to do with your core control, core stability. So let me explain. There are a ton of athletes that have a really strong core, a ton of pro athletes that have a six-pack abs, but they still have back pain. Why is that? Well, when it comes to the core, the lower back, that's the center of your body. Your core not only needs to be strong, but it has to be stable, and it has to be able to provide control of your spine. It has to be able to create a stable environment for it to be very healthy. So think about your core. Your core is, several layers, multiple muscles all the way around, and it's the center of your body. It's the foundation of your body. Your core is primarily designed to prevent motion, not create it, okay? And that's key. Prevent motion, not create it. You want to be solid and still and sturdy in your core, in the center of your body. You don't want a lot of movement in your lower back to occur. And that's a big issue we see with a lot of athletes with low back pain, is that they have strong abs, but a lot of that's because they're training their core, their abs, to create motion, not prevent it. So think of it like this. Think of exercises, the more common exercises today. Things like sit-ups, crunches, medicine ball, Russian twists, in CrossFit, things like toes to bar, GHD sit-ups. These type of exercises, yeah, you're gonna get a six-pack abs. You're gonna get a strong core, but they are teaching your abs, training your abs to create movement, which is not what they're supposed to do. It's not what they're built to do. So this big issue that we see is that we got strong athletes with a strong core, but they lack stability and control. And so their ratio is like this: strong core, lack stability and control. We need to get it closer towards the middle, because a big common reason why many different types of back injuries occur is because their lower back is moving too much, okay? So that's a big theme and a big premise that we're gonna focus on with these exercises that we're gonna show you, because these exercises, they're known as anti-exercises. Anti meaning you're training your core to prevent motion. So let's dive right in. So with these exercises, we want to, or I should say the key is to tire out your core without moving it. So probably the number 1 exercise that comes to mind for a lot of athletes is the plank. So I want to go over the plank first, and then we'll build off of that because it's just a really good foundational exercise. So with the plank, the key is to have your back nice and neutral. Don't let it sag, don't let it dip. So it doesn't matter whether or not you're on your hands or on your elbows. What is important is your low back. Do not let it sag, do not let it arch. This is a really bad, unhealthy plank. You want to be in a nice straight line, almost tuck the butt under a little bit, holding it just like this, or on your elbows, okay? Now, modify that. Make it a little bit easier. You can always go to the knees, just like so. Also can, tweak the amount of time that you're holding it. To make it harder, you can bring in a ball, do something that's known as a ball stir, where you're doing a plank on the ball and creating circles in each direction, or just going forward and back. To make that even harder, come on over here. If you guys have access to TRX straps or rings, a couple great options you could do is what's known as a fallout, just like so. Falling your body forward as you raise the arms up. and back in. Most importantly, making sure your lower back does not sag or arch while you're doing this, okay? One more time. And back in. So that's a fallout, okay? All right, and another variation that we can do is known as a TRX Swimmer. For this exercise, you're gonna drop one arm out just like you did with the last one. Then you're gonna bring the other one into a push-up position. This adds a little bit of anti-rotation element as well, so it looks kind of like this. You just alternate sides. Again, making sure most important component is keeping that lower back nice and neutral, nice and flat, and don't let it sag or move. One last variation you can do here on the rings or TRX straps is what's known as a bus driver. Didn't create this name, wish I did. It's an awesome exercise. But you're basically gonna start next to your ear like this, straighten the arms out, go over your head, and return to the other side. Going around the head. Number one goal is to keep that low back nice and neutral. Don't let it arch, don't let it extend. Now, of course, with the TRX or the rings, if you're using these for these exercises, the more horizontal your body is, or the lower the rings are towards the ground, are going to affect the difficulty level. Both of those, the more horizontal and the lower they are going to increase the difficulty. So make sure you find a good height and a good position that's not too hard, not too easy though, but not too hard in the sense that you're collapsing, allowing your body to sink, sag, and arch. All right, so that's only half the battle though. Let's head back over here. All those exercises we just did are known as anti-extension exercises. The other half that we need to include are what are known as anti-rotation exercises. Anytime your lower back extends or rotates excessively, it's a very, very, very common cause of pain. All right, so when it comes to anti-rotation exercises, there's really nothing better than the Pallof press series. If you guys haven't heard about these exercises, it's okay, I'm gonna show you them right now. They're amazing. So you'd want some kind of elastic band of some sort. You could also use a cable column like at a gym. You just gotta adjust to the, somewhere between your hips and your shoulders in terms of height. So to do the basic Pallof press, what you're gonna do is step on out to get some resistance here in a bit of an athletic stance. You're gonna simply punch straight out and then come on back in. So the Pallof punch, when I extend my arms like this, it's gonna increase the lever arm. This band is really trying to rotate my body that way towards the anchor, but I'm not letting that happen. I wanna be as straight as possible. I wanna control this movement, don't let it win. So that's the basic. The basic Pallof press, Pallof punch is what it's known as. There's a ton of varieties. So let's go over a few of those. Make it a little harder, you can do what's known as the vertical Pallof press, starting with the arm straight between the legs, and your goal is to try to draw a nice straight line as high as your shoulders feel comfortable, up and down, nice and controlled, no S-shaped, no C-shaped. Just like so, nice controlled pace. These are also done, by the way, in both directions. The third variety is what's known as the ABC Pallof press. Arms are straight out in front, and I'm going to trace the alphabet. All the letters, A through Z, as fast as I can. The goal, though, with this one, only your arms and hands are moving. Your core should have no movement whatsoever. So arms are moving, with the thought though is no movement within your lower back and your core. So those are three basic ones. You can also start to get fancy with a staggered stance if you want to change things up, especially if you're more of a unilateral athlete where you often have one foot in front of the other. Other good varieties you could do is add in like a lunge, for instance, where you're lunging back and forth. Okay, you can be out here and sidestep out, sidestep back. With the elastic band, the further out you go, the harder it's going to be. So certainly you can change this up, a lot of different ways you can do it, but it's an amazing exercise to help prevent and to help treat lower back pain. And you can take those concepts and make them as easy or as hard as you want. There are a ton of exercises that you can do. Just make sure you don't cheat, you don't compensate, you don't let yourself allow that lower back to move while you're performing them. Remember, the key is to fatigue your core without allowing movement in your core. All right, so I mentioned in the beginning of the video that if y'all stuck around to the end, I would reveal the top 2 reasons why athletes develop low back pain to begin with. So the first reason relates directly to what we were just talking about. The first reason is athletes, when they move, when they perform their activity, their sport, they allow their lower back to extend or rotate excessively. All right, so let's talk about that. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say a lineman, for instance, football lineman, when they grapple with a defenseman, oftentimes their lower back goes into extension, and that is a big reason why they develop lower back pain. Or if you're an overhead athlete, whether it's pushing weight overhead in CrossFit, weightlifting, or you're an overhead athlete, tennis, baseball, basketball, when you go overhead, if you let your back extend excessively too much time and time again, that adds up and it really irritates the little joints and muscles, ligaments, all the structures in your lower back, all the sensitive structures. But that's just the extension, or extension, arching, similar terminology if I'm using both. The other part is the rotation. If your lower back is rotating excessively, then it's going to cause a ton of pain. We all know how much, sports like golf, how much low back pain is involved with those rotational sports. It's because their back is rotating more than it should be because it lacks control. All right, and that's where these exercises tie in tremendously to help prevent that. The number second top reason why athletes deal with lower back pain or develop lower back pain is they cannot disassociate their lower back from their hips. What do I mean by that? Well, basically their back and their hips move as a unit. They move as one. They're not getting good hip motion when they're performing their sport or their movements, and so what happens is you get a tremendous amount of pressure, a tremendous amount of strain in your lower back. All right, so it's very important that your hips can move separate from your lower back, that your hips take a lot of the force, that your hips, your glutes are the strongest muscles in your body. They need to be strong and solid. Your hips need to be able to move efficiently, okay? And if you have stiffer hips, which a lot of athletes do because they're students or they sit a lot, whether it's work or just, at the end of the day or, in their leisure time, sitting develops tight hips, which then can lead to an inability to disassociate them from your lower back. I'll link in the description below an awesome hip exercise to help make sure they're nice and loose that counteracts the effects of long periods of sitting. All right, so number one, athletes extend and rotate far too much in their activity, movement, sport. Number two, athletes do not know how to disassociate their hips from their back, and it moves as a unit. All right, two very important reasons why low back pain occurs to begin with. That's it for today, guys. If this video brought any value to your life, please hit the like button below. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. That's it for today, guys. See you next time.